Or do you want to share the deck again? Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes for everyone to join, and then we will kick off. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I think we've had a few more people join now. So let's kick off the webinar. So yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this webinar talking about HPE GreenLake for block storage. My name is Larry Smith. I'm the as a service sales manager here at Westcoast. I'll hand over to Ed to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Spooner. I am a solution business manager in our UK IMEA and HPE's UK IMEA data services team. And I'll be talking to you this morning about the GreenLake for block storage subscription business. I will make this note right now. In the coming weeks, you're going to hear a lot more about GreenLake for block storage, linked to an MPI coming next week, an exciting time. But for the purposes and the expectation of this webinar, I'll be talking about specifically the block subscription business.
Thank you, Ed. Do you want to go to the next slide, please? Right. So before we get into the HPE content around block storage, I just want to take a moment to talk about Westcoast GreenLake Ignite partner program. So we have a partner program here at Westcoast focused all around everything GreenLake with HPE. The GreenLake block storage is a part of that as well. We have loads of resources here to help partners like yourselves along that GreenLake journey. We've got a dedicated team here with people specifically aligned to GreenLake that do this day in, day out, that can help with any queries and quotes that you've got. In addition to being able to do lots of enablement, both technical and pre-sales, kind of help you develop your as a service business and provide you with lots of templates to make the quoting process as easy as possible. Yeah, there's lots that we can do here for partners around the GreenLake. So we can share some information after this call. But I just wanted to cover what's available to you as partners, ultimately giving you all the tools you need along your GreenLake journey to build out your as a service business. So before, let's hand over to Ed here to begin the HPE session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Larry. And thank you, everyone, for joining this morning. As I say, I'm going to be talking about GreenLake for block storage subscription, the latest solution in our as a service portfolio. What I'd like you to leave with today is an understanding of what it is, where it fits, where's the opportunity, and what's in it for you as a partner, and having the information and tools to go and sell. I will start with this. It is a very simple model. It is a first step into as a service for many customers. So keep that in mind. What I'll go through are the drivers, the green zones where we should be looking for opportunities, how you quote it, and actually, I'd like you to focus on this, the win with data services. What are some of the tools we have got within HPE to help you close not just a block subscription deal, but other HPE Data Services deals. Right, if you take away anything from today, this is it. This is everything you need to know about block storage subscription through the market opportunity. Why are we doing it now? What's the point? What it is, what's in it for you as a partner, the differentiators. I will cover this in the next 25 minutes, but let me just draw your attention to some bits here. Starting off with, what is block storage subscription? It is Electra as a service, on-premise storage, paid for monthly via a new, highly simplified as a service model. The intention is to make storage as a service highly transactional as a CapEx purchase. To do that, we focus on SLAs and business outcomes rather than speeds and fees and builds. Single SKU configurations, which are standardized. So there's not a whole lot of work in building something brand new. And really importantly, the billing, the contractual model we're using is a highly simplified contractual model, which allows any reseller access to block subscription without any accreditation, any expertise. You just need to buy via a tier 1 distributor, via Westcoast, as you would normally. And what's it for you as a partner? We've got the 15% deal reg MBO. That's sort of looking back if the customer hasn't bought HPE storage in the last year, there's potential 15% available to you there, which is available in our storage portfolio. But then for those partners who have metal status, silver, gold, platinum, there's up to 17% TCV reward, as is the same we have for the GreenLake Classic model. So it's a transactional business as a service with incredible benefits of MBO and partner-ready compensation. And then all of those advantages of being as a service. That's the recurring monthly revenue for the business. It's incredibly sticky. We're learning from GreenLake Classic here with over 90% contract refresh at the end of the term. And it locks the customer into you for you to invest with them in helping their business evolve from an IT point of view. Engage and grow, I'll come on to that in a minute. There are other benefits. What I also want to pull out of the partner benefits here is the wraparound service opportunity. These are standardized solutions, GreenLake for block storage subscription. There is an opportunity for you to put your own wrap around them, and I'll come on to that. And finally, the supply prioritization. It is an objective of HPE's to have that block array on site with the customer, operational within 2 weeks of having the cleared order. That is faster than a lot of CapEx business. This is why it's so innovative. This is why it's so exciting. HPE is not the first to market with a on-premise storage subscription model. Dell and Pure both have their own as well. We're actually probably 12 months later. Where we are different is we're the only vendor to have 100% availability guarantee for the mission critical subscription. And we have the lowest barrier to entry at just 16 terabytes. I think the TCV on that is around 35,000 pounds. So under £1,000 a month payment for the storage, the capacity. And this is a really important point I want to say now, and we'll touch on it later on. The capacity built and reserved for HPE is usable capacity, which allows the customer to benefit from any data efficiency gains, the ability to compress their data. The other competing block offerings use effective capacity. And if the customer cannot achieve those data efficiency requirements, I think it's 2-to-1 compression ratio, then there is a penalty or change in subscription, an increase in cost. And that creates a bit of unpredictability within the block subscriptions elsewhere, whereas HPE, based on usable capacity, it is predictable for the customer, and say the customer takes the benefit of the availability of the data efficiency. The operations, and I'll come on to this in a minute. What makes HPE unique is the combination of InfoSight and Data Ops Manager to give a completely new and unique experience for managing storage infrastructure, and it's all accessed via the HPE GreenLake cloud platform, alongside all of the other cloud data services like backup and recovery. Soon we'll have disaster recovery and so forth. But if I start with sort of the market opportunity, picking up on that top comment about Gartner predicting 40% of new procurement of newly procured on-premise infrastructure will be consumed as a service by 2025. Well, we actually hear that from our customers too in HPE. This isn't necessarily because customers have limited cash to invest, though that is a big contribution of breaking the annual CapEx funding cycles to a new model. But it's often because the customers are interested in the unique benefits that are available via the as-a-service models. Wait a minute, so what is an as-a-service model? Let me be clear and differentiate it. As-a-service is differentiated as it requires the metering of the usage of the environment via the use of software consumption analytics, which allows for a pricing and cost model based upon consumption, which can be billed on a monthly basis. Now, there are many as-a-service solutions, or there are many solutions out there saying they are as a service. Many are no more than just innovative leasing setups and leasing agreements. And that means the outcomes, the customer outcomes are not as they should be expected. And what are the advantages of the as-a-service model if it's done right, as we do it within HPE? Far greater visibility of the usage of the environment, the ability to directly align infrastructure costs with business outcomes. It offers greater efficiency and cost control, removes or eliminates over-provisioning, and enables the customer to access the latest technology by removing that burden on CapEx. And this in itself drives IT efficiency and greater productivity. The result is greater agility, faster time to market, less risk, and better control, which feeds directly into the top business priorities for most organizations: to achieve greater operational efficiency, do more with less, and greater employee productivity, more time to innovate. But here's the problem. Data is growing at an exponential rate. For over a quarter of organizations, data growth is predicted to be over 50% per year. Yet budgets are static, and there's a developing skills gap amongst the workforce. A recent ESG study discovered that 93% of IT decision makers report storage and data management complexity to be impeding digital transformation, holding the company back. Now, this is a far cry from data being the lifeblood of the business. Uncontrolled data growth is holding companies back. And this is precisely what HPE is trying to resolve. Our mission to unlock customers' potential. We have the solutions, we have the underlying technology and the strategy. What we really need is your help as our partner community. We can eliminate infrastructure complexity by delivering the speed and agility of a cloud operational experience. We offer solutions that render the underlying infrastructure mostly invisible, enabling a shift to cloud native apps. And what are cloud native apps? Apps can be managed from anywhere on any device. Again, that is a significant change in how things are done today. And this is what customers are telling us they need, which is supported by ESG research, which found that 91% of IT leaders identify mature cloud operations on-premise as a single most important step to eliminating complexity. HPE is the market leader in this field. We're evolving our plan, or what we are evolving into, is the first on-premise hyperscaler, offering both that as a service financial model, which I just discussed, combined with the cloud operation experience across the entire infrastructure stack. This is what HPE GreenLake is today. This is delivered via the HPE GreenLake cloud platform, offering customers greater choice on how they acquire and consume IT, whether it be at CapEx or as a service. And this is one of those new as a service models. So subscription, what is it? Let's just simply break it down for block subscription. Pay to access a service. This is not pay to own. A big differentiator for subscription. It's a standardized solution configured through attributes. And what we're offering the customer are SLA, service level agreements, and service level objectives. It is infrastructure as a service comprising of a reserved capacity, a fixed monthly price, call it, and a variable capacity, something for the customer to consume. They only pay for it when they consume it. So 2 parts to the GreenLake for block storage subscription. It is operated and managed via the GreenLake cloud platform, and it has standardized terms and conditions. As I say, it makes it very easy to transact, no complex terms and conditions. Just needs you to buy via Westcoast, and it's fast and easy quoting. So how then does it differentiate itself from what is as a service today? On the right-hand side, buy it, that's CapEx. I'm going to forget that for now. And within CapEx, there is lease and finance agreements, spreading the cost, being done for years. Let's not focus there for now. Let's focus on the 2 as a service models, because up until we had subscription, there was only 1 as a service model, full-blown consumption, GreenLake, HPE GreenLake Classic. Now we have subscription. So how are they different? Well, if we focus on the consuming it, HPE GreenLake for storage, GreenLake Classic, this is a highly customizable consumption model. You only pay, or the customer only pays for what they consume. They can customize the solution. The solutions can span compute, storage, big data, containers. The contract term can be flexible lengths. The customer can manage the infrastructure themselves, or they can have it fully managed for them by HPE, either on-premise or in a colo. They can have whatever level of service support, enhanced level of support they want. It's managed out of the metering is managed out of the GreenLake, out of GreenLake Central, an incredible suite of metrics to manage or meter the consumption of the environment, and the utilization and capacity management tools are phenomenal. Subscription, standardized solution, single SKU. There's no customization there. The contract term, 1 or 3 years subscription terms. That's not to say at the end of 3 years or 1 year, the customer has to give the block array back to HPE. They can continue to use it. They just move on to a rolling contract, month in, month out, with a 30-day notice period. Or they can just hand it back to HPE. I'm finished with this. Thank you very much. Loved it. Or they can change. They can change the subscription, move to something new, upgrade. HPE will sort all of that out. What we're doing is we're removing the burden of asset ownership. And increasingly, we're having customers talking to us about that. That can be a bind, especially through digital transformation projects when people are not sure what workloads are going to live where, whether it be in the cloud or on-premise, what that means to storage. So not having that burden of CapEx is important. It's self-managed from HPE's point of view. First wraparound service for you as a partner. HPE are going to give it to the customer to operate. You could offer it, or you could manage it for them as part of an enhanced level of service. And then the tech care essential support is the only support option we're offering. You as a partner can offer an enhanced level of support if you choose. The capacity, it's all managed via Data Services Cloud Console, and the capacity utilization is managed there. It is not as granular detail as GreenLake Central, but it is enough to give the customer the analytics they require. And it's a simplified, fast experience. So here we are. What are those attribute-based questions for quoting? Let's start off with the availability tier. Now we're thinking workload. What does this workload need? Does it need mission critical storage? What does mission critical storage mean? It means 100% availability guarantee. No? Okay, we can look at the business critical storage, 6 nines availability. If we're looking at the public cloud, we're in 4 nines of availability territory, and a lot of people, a lot of customers don't necessarily want that. 6 nines is what they need. General purpose 6 nines availability. What kind of performance do you need? Crudely defined by value, balanced, and performance. This is based on IOPS and read-write speeds, and each of those performance levels is specific to each of the availability tiers. Next, what capacity do you want? So, as I say, our 16 terabyte usable capacity is the entry level. The actual installed capacity with that entry level array is 33 terabytes. So 16 terabytes usable, 17 terabyte is variable capacity, capacity that is available to the customer when they want it. They only pay for it when they use it. If they don't use it, they don't pay for it. It gives them a huge amount of flex or buffer to move workloads if they need to. And it scales all the way up to 532 terabytes, which is an installed capacity of 709 terabytes. And how are we going to connect it to the environments, whether it's gigabit Ethernet or fiber channel, and what is the contract term, 1 or 3 years? Next, what happens is the customer goes to our GreenLake cloud platform, common.cloud.hpe.com. This is our central location for all SaaS applications, for onboarding, managing, operating, updating, metering, protecting. All our analytics tools are there. Everything, whether the infrastructure was bought on CapEx, for instance, Electra, or bought as a service, makes no difference. All HPE infrastructure will be managed by the GreenLake Cloud platform. This is our centralized, unified platform. And within GreenLake Cloud platform, we have the data services cloud console. For data, so this is what you need for all data services. First off, I strongly advise you to check out backup and recovery tile here. It's our new application for VMware environments. It is highly efficient, simple to use, should be very cost effective. Data Ops Manager, which is the cloud native operations for Electra arrays, combined with the block storage cloud native operation for the block storage arrays. InfoSight, this is a jewel in HPE's crown, the industry's most advanced AI for infrastructure that enables the environment to be self-optimizing, self-managing, and self-fixing. So self-optimizing, self-healing, and self-fixing. It is what makes the underlying infrastructure invisible. And the final one I'm going to draw your attention to on the Data Services Cloud Console is Cloud Physics. This is free of charge. It is absolutely brilliant. It's a powerful analytics application that monitors the customer's data center environment to identify inefficiencies, suggest optimization opportunities, and sizes and models potential solutions. It massively eliminates waste. It delivers a unique insight into how workloads affect each other and how they're scaling over time. And as I say, it is completely free. Now, to focus a bit more on these cloud native block management tools, unlike traditional storage management, DataOps simplifies on-premise storage management across the life cycle. It's an end-to-end self-service, AI-driven, highly automated cloud experience. This is where we really start to address those business priorities I mentioned earlier, driving efficiency and employee productivity. The intelligence, the automation allows less experienced staff to take much greater control and responsibility of managing the storage environment. And that in turn frees up time for the management to innovate and strategize. This is a huge, huge advantage. If we start to look at some of the features, start with streamlining device deployment. Even before the block array has arrived at the customer can access the management app and start setting up the policies. When the array arrives, simply rack it, plug in the power cords, connect the networking cables. A few clicks later, the system is configured, available, and operational. Next, we have intent-based provisioning, AI-driven, app-centric storage provisioning, no more domain expertise required, and no more spreadsheets and guesswork of where to put that workload. Storage provisioning time is slashed for days or weeks to minutes. And another great feature of intent-based provisioning is role-based access control, enabling line of business owners with self-service on-demand provisioning of their own. Again, this is all about empowering more people within an organization to do more with the infrastructure without the net requirement for a huge amount of skill set. And then we move to invisible upgrades. Thanks to the SaaS-based delivery, new data services instantly become available. Data plane software upgrades are non-disruptive, and intelligently matched to a given system. And then finally, management is from any device, anywhere. Globally unified management, enabling customers to manage or monitor their entire fleet from a single interface. Highly automated, intuitive. It makes managing 100 systems as easier than managing just one. This is the experience we're delivering alongside that financial model. And of course, returning to info sites, organizations can say goodbye to endless firefighting thanks to AI-powered autonomous operations that ensure the apps are always on and always fast, where disruptions are predicted and prevented before they occur. What does this mean for the customer? 73% fewer support tickets, 69% faster time for resolution of L3 events, 85% less time troubleshooting, and crucially, and most importantly, 79% lower storage operational expenses. No other vendor can match the breadth of telemetry, full stack visibility up to the app layer, and prescriptive, actionable recommendations of HPE InfoSight. So these are directly addressing some of those business priorities that were flagged on an earlier slide by making the infrastructure invisible, more automation, and empowering people to do more. Now, a few key points of GreenLake for block storage subscription. It's quoted and sold as a single SKU, standardized infrastructure. For those who have a lot of experience with Electra, it uses a different discount model. It does not have the high discount model that you would traditionally have seen with storage, HPE storage products. The list price is deliberately meant to be the customer price, the street price. I'm not going to hide from this. It is designed to be more expensive, or is priced to be more expensive than CapEx, less expensive than consumption. It is considerably less than public cloud. However, it is a new solution, and my experience of pricing so far has been subscription has been in line with CapEx. There is no premium there at all. It's a great time to get on board if you have a customer in mind. And the cost for a 1 year subscription is more expensive than the 3-year subscription. That's logical. That's to do with the overheads, but I'm just calling it out there. The capacity is made up of variable capacity, which is up to 55% of the total installed capacity. I gave that example of the entry-level array at 16 terabyte reserved, which had 33 terabyte installed, which meant the variable capacity was 17 terabytes, 55% of the total capacity. Variable capacity has a surcharge. It's 40% more expensive cost per gig versus reserve capacity. This is important to note. If we have a customer who buys into block subscription, though is consistently using variable capacity, there's a conversation to be had to change the tier to move to the next tier up of reserve capacity. That may well save them money. And the block sizing is based on usable capacity, not effective capacity. The installation is meant to be 2 weeks. That's our service level objective. Have it operational within 2 weeks, 14 days. Installation is delivered by HPE or an authorized partner. Tech Care Essential is the only support option, which of course you can wrap around, and it has a concierge service. So for the early opportunities, we're going to have a lot of resources direct to this to make sure the experience is great for you as a partner and your customer. And the contracts, there's no statement of work required, which is a massive, massive bonus for a lot of people, and the contracting terms are simplified. So what is the metering? What are the billing parameters? I mentioned several times, reserve capacity. This is a fixed cost, paid upfront, monthly paid upfront for that committed capacity, let's call it, from those initial attribute-based questions. For the variable capacity, which is the capacity above reserved inside of installed, that is the consumption capacity And this is billed only for when the customer uses it, but billed for in arrears, so the following month. So there are 2 billing lines. If the customer has no variable capacity, does not use any variable capacity, there'll only be 1 billing line, which would be the reserve capacity. And all capacity management, all billing information could be seen out of something called the subscription service viewer, which is part of our development at the moment. And I said about uncovering where the opportunities lie. I won't go through all of these. If I look at some of the green zones, where we in HPE have been having some really interesting conversations, is looking at the Nimble and Primera install base, certainly where InfoSight is calling home, giving us information on the usage environment, and making a recommendation. How can we take the customer to Electra with a whole new experience? And customers are listening. They like what they're hearing, this early entry into as a service without going fully to consumption. Where storage is predicted to be static, low, or even declining, where consumption isn't a good fit, actually modeling a customer out of variable capacity to reserve capacity over a 1 or 3 year term is really interesting. It is an as a service solution that works with costs actually declining. And that could be linked to digital transformation. Typically, it is linked to digital transformation, as is project business, where a customer only needs storage for 1 year, does not want to own it, does not want the burden. They just need to access it for a specific project. Block works really well there. Where the customer doesn't require a high degree, where the customer does not have a complex project or multi-B project, they just simply refresh another array that's there, or they need a new array, something to bring into the organization quickly and simply. They prefer to manage their own environment. They don't need someone else doing it. They're happy with data ops and the cloud native applications. 1 or 3 year subscriptions is the option they're looking for. They're happy with that. And where they want a model where they pay as a service. Now, these last 2 are learnings from deals we're working on at the moment, where customers are looking to achieve assetless IT objectives. And that ties into their ESG metrics, where they are looking for a different financial model. That is where Block is interesting. I'm going to speed up the last few bits because we're nearly at the end. So the red zones, where to steer clear of, where it's a highly complex solution, multi-BU compute, storage, containers, whatever it is, Block probably isn't a good, Block subscription is not a good fit. Where there's high growth, we're probably looking at consumption there as being the best model, where 5 year support is an absolute must. Say we can achieve 5 years with a 3 year contract and then rolling it for the remaining 24 months. And where there's a requirement for GMS to be managed for them. And some other areas where it's dark site, where we can't have InfoSight switched on, so we can't do the metering. It rules Block subscription out and DMR requirement. Again, this is pay to access, not pay to own. So defective media retention can't be offered at this stage. So I've covered this. What's in it for you as a partner? That MBO upfront, that reward backend and the TCV of up to 17%. We've got engage and grow, an incentive for you as individual sellers, where you can earn up to £2,500 per quarter. The reward is 4% of the net value of the solution, the TCV of the solution. How do I get a quote? So this is an area of evolution for HPE. This is what we're working hard on. But you can go to the Partner Ready portal, look in the tools, find the as a service quote tool, and that takes you to a sort of smart sheet where you answer those 5 questions along with customer details, and the quote is then sent to Westcoast, and Westcoast will then pass it through to you for you then to pass on to your customer. Very simple quoting. It will be digitally led in time. This is the sort of phase 1. And I mentioned this, win with data service solutions. Let's start with the promotions. £20,000 trade-in. If you're trading in some old legacy storage to one of HPE's Block all-flash arrays, you can claim up to £20,000 as a cash payment back to the customer. A brand new one we have is 20,000 cash back for migrating data out of the public cloud onto a new HPE storage solution, essentially covering the cost of eGrace for customers who are pulling away from the public cloud, looking to go for a hybrid multi-cloud model. We've got the 90-day backup and recovery free trial. I absolutely recommend using this. If you look at the sales tools, Cloud Physics, the free trial and the Cloud Physics assessments go hand in hand. Cloud Physics gives the intelligence, the sizing. The free trial gives the experience of using the software. The two of them together will give the customer detailed insights of exactly how they need to size the backup and recovery solution, remove any wastage. If we look at the incentives, Engage and Grow, I mentioned that, and the partner NBO, absolutely need you to take advantage of these. The data service offering, I've just been through our GreenLake for block storage subscription, and we have our package support services as well to look at. Definitely looking at the attached cell, not necessarily for block, they can't be attached to block, but to block subscription, but to other Electra cells. And then finally, the ATS classes, which are electrotechnical sales classes. We have a huge win rate off the back of these. This is really understanding what Electra offers to customers, the unique value, and being able to clearly articulate that. So with that, I have some resources which will be shared with you, going through podcasts, videos, and white papers. Definitely have a look, probably make it sound a lot easier and more straightforward than I have today. And here you are. I'm going to hand over to Larry and then move to Q&A.
Thank you, Ed. Yeah, thank you, Ed. That was amazing. You know, so much great content there, covering all areas of block as a service, right? You know, it's all Electra, right? So many great features in there that will ultimately make your customers' lives easier, underpinned by InfoSight, you know, which we all know from the Nimble days. But do your customers consume it? Do they subscribe to it? Do they purchase it? We start with Cloud Physics, right? We run an assessment. We look at the workloads. You know, understanding those workloads is the key here, because once we can understand that, you know, we can focus on the actual business outcome that we're looking for with the solution. And if it does look like they want to subscribe to it with block, you know, there's only 5 simple questions you need to ask. And what capacity do you need? What performance do you need? What availability? What connectivity? And finally, what duration? Simple, right? Well, simple for us. You know, we do this day in, day out, right? All the time. You know, I fully appreciate that we've got a lot of sellers on the call that have to sell a wide variety of products and services. So, you know, feel free to reach out to GreenLake at westcoast.co.uk. You know, if you have a storage requirement, we can guide you down, you know, what's going to be the best model for your customer, what makes most sense for you in terms of your strategy as well. And then we can take the quotes and create those for you and explain them to you and make sure you understand exactly how to quote. The subscription stuff is great because, as Ed mentioned, you know, you're able to do that on Partner Ready, which you have access to today. So it's a great entry into the as a service ecosystem. So yeah, GreenLake at westcoast.co.uk is kind of the email address to get in touch for any questions there. We'll send out some content after this webinar as well for further reading. I would say the QR code on the right here is great. It's kind of an all things GreenLake link. So if you scan that with your phones, you'll have access to loads and loads of stuff about GreenLake if you'd like to learn more about the overall platform. So that's it for the slide content. We've got some time left for Q&A. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. Oh, I can see we've got one question already from Imran. So just to check, the 16 terabyte entry level, is that based on MSA? So that's actually an Electra 5K. So block subscription, everything's going to be based on Electra. So there's no MSAs as part of this offering.
Imran, that's a great question. And the long-term intent for HPE with subscription is, it doesn't matter what the underlying infrastructure is. What the focus should be is, what's the availability tier? What's the read-write IOPS required? And the two of those should then define the solution. But as Larry said, it's all based on Electra. The general purpose is Electra 5K. That will be hybrid flash arrays. So those read-write and IOPS will be slower on the value balance performance tiers. Whereas when we go to the business critical, mission critical tier of subscription, that's the all flash arrays, the Electra 6K and Electra 9K. I'm being open with you because I'm sure your customers will ask, but as we go down this road, we will speak less about the underlying infrastructure, mostly or exclusively about the outcomes or the workloads.
Okay, any other questions? From Mr. Casey, what does HPE view as their nearest competitors to this? Ed, I'll let you take that one.
It's a good question. The two subscription on-premise subscriptions are Dell Apex. They have a digitally led experience on Dell's website, and Pure are doing a lot with subscription. It's a big play of theirs. I'd say Dell are probably leading the way in terms of the subscription experience. But yeah, absolutely, Dell and Pure are the two biggest competitors here.
Thanks, Ed. Great question. All right, any other questions? Okay, there's another one there. So what client objections are you currently receiving? So I presume this is the client objections to, I guess, the subscription entry.
Gosh, that's an interesting. Do you know the main objections we had have come actually from channel, and it's around no ownership at the end of the contract, at the end of the term. Seeing that lack of ownership option as a disadvantage. What if the customer wants to sweat the asset, redeploy it, put it to something else? The reality is, when you buy a CapEx solution like Electra, at the end of your initial period, whether you go 3 years or 5 years, there will be a requirement to pay to extend the service, the support, and to pay to extend the subscription on the data ops, cloud native operation management. Customers don't really like, or what we're hearing is, customers don't always like having that responsibility of an asset that they own, but they don't really know what to do with it. It kind of almost have to deploy it somewhere to use it, but it doesn't really add value. And certainly it doesn't contribute towards their ESG, their environmental, social, and governance gains. The customer feedback we're getting is actually by handing the asset back to HPE, trouble-free, giving it to us to worry about the asset upcycling, recycling, whatever we do with it, helps them out more than actually having an asset that they can continue using after the initial term. So it's a different mindset. It's changing to the customer mindset. It's really thinking, in the public cloud, there is no asset ownership. Once they've finished using whatever application, whatever storage in the public cloud, they just pull out of it. And actually, that in itself has advantages. Emulating that experience on premise is carrying over those same advantages.
Great, thank you, Ed. And one more question, 2 parts on this one. So the first one is, how would GreenLake work for international rollouts? So multi-country sites. So GreenLake, today is a contract in country because it's a services deal. So that needs to go, in country for each opportunity there. The other question is around what vertical or sector would you say was the most viable for the solution, or a sweet spot for headcount? I mean, I'll let Ed weigh in on this as well, but I will say we're seeing interest across all sectors. Anyone that buys storage that wants an OpEx model to pay for what they consume, this is attractive too. So Ed, do you have any other comments on that?
Yeah, it's been a real mixed bag of opportunities. We're trying to actually draw lines and draw insight from the opportunities we've been working on so far. I'd say there's probably a skewing towards retail, large retail, especially the main chains, who are looking for that digital transformation journey. Retailers really have that responsibility to modernize, have apps, have a different customer experience where they're looking for those customer experience. Things like Block really fit that model because there's a huge amount of cash going in to modernization. If we can help with that cash flow by offering a subscription, they're interested. I would say that's sort of the industries which are looking for digital transformation are definitely ones to target. Also, customers who are looking at their environmental sustainability, IT efficiency metrics, they're really looking at these new models as sort of way forward. So I don't know if that's industry specific through to regulation, but if you know of a customer looking at their ESG metrics, there's definitely a conversation to be had.
Okay, and one final question before we wrap up from Imran. What requirements are there for partners to do the installation of the solution? I assume that the professional services effort and cost is built into the cost automatically. So this will include a startup service in terms of installation from HPE. However, you can absolutely wrap your own services into this from a professional services point of view, if you wanted to for end customers. So yeah, there is a base level included, but it's absolutely up to you as a partner how you want to do that, and yeah, how you want to push that to your customers. Ed, any other comments on that piece?
No, I'd say we are taking responsibility within the price of installing the array, whether we do it ourselves within our HPE engineers or whether we use our authorized partner engineers to do it. They are all certified, and that's important. If you have public sector customers, we will only send certified engineers on site to do installations, or security cleared, engineers on site to do installations. The partner wrap really comes around, do you want to manage it for your partner, for your customer, or do you want to offer an enhanced level of support to change that experience for them, take more responsibility of managing the arrays?
Okay, well, I think that's a wrap for today. I just want to thank everybody for attending this morning. There will be a recording sent out as well for anyone that wasn't able to catch this. Yeah, any other questions, any feedback, anything like that, feel free to reach out to GreenLake at westcoast.co.uk. We'll be here to support you with anything you need. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.